So what's the GoFundMe about? What's the Underchurch about? Why is Colten, who's not been on social media for years, suddenly on social media, posting frequently, and all in all acting like a cuckoo banana bird in public? Why is he doing all this? Fair question. So I left out an important verse. Thank you, Great Eddie Walker, for bringing this up, which was Mark 5:19 when I did the lesson that I already have posted about Mark 5:1 through 13. I should have taken it all the way to 19 at least, maybe through the whole chapter. But I'm trying to let everybody see the rough draft because, admittedly, I have no clue how to do any of this. I'm figuring it all out as I go. Um, so why do all this? Okay. Um, is it because you want attention? No. Um, it's complicated because I do want affection. I want love like anyone else, but I don't like attention. Attention means responsibility. Attention means more effort to keep the show going, you know? And so, what a lot of people don't realize about me that is news to some of you and not to others, but it is a truth, is that I have been I'm a massive liar and deceiver, have been for um, 35 years. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't been a good employee. That doesn't mean I haven't been a good guy or a good friend or whatever. Um, but it was keeping up the show and performing to an audience is something I've been doing since day one to keep myself safe, right? I got to be the good Christian boy at church. I got to be smart enough at school for the teachers to like me, but not so smart that I get bullied by kids. I, have a very physically violent, aggressive, and emotionally abusive father, but I'm supposed to act like he's this great guy because he's the main breadwinner and he's the reason, I can't get food on my own, right? And my mom doesn't
Mhm.
work. So it becomes this sort of so much of my safety dependent on my ability to perform. And that's just a fact. If you don't agree with my allegations of child SA, um, okay. I've done a lot of therapy and a lot of research, and I remember things that I don't tell people because they're disturbing. Not pulling it out of nowhere. Um, I understand people being skeptical. That's fine. I don't mind skepticism. I don't mind doubt. Um, but I can promise you this: I'm not going to get sued for defamation because, yeah, try it. Okay, sure. Let's see how a few expert witnesses what they have to say after seeing me. Um, so that's why I'm not worried about that. I'm not really worried about that risk factor at all. Uh, I'll just pop up how Richard's handled this situation so far. I was definitely putting on an act and overacting my symptoms. So again, a lot of this is performance. And this is where we get into something that's going to be frustrating for a lot of people, but is honest. Okay. This is going to be difficult to accept, especially for people that love me and are close to me and are family members, right? I think we were all hoping Colton would come out of the therapy cocoon, this nice, beautiful butterfly, right? He's soaring, he handles challenges without severe dissociative depressive episodes. We'd all love that. Um, I can get better at what I'm doing, at the things I'm doing, and at life. But I'm not coming out of this cocoon. It's been too shaken up here. All right. You can only shake a mind up so much from so young before you just do damage that can't be fixed. So grieve it with me, boo hoo, wah wah, right? Move on. We've grieved it. Okay? So, what does that mean? That means there is no Colten. I have bad news. There's no self, there's no Colten. There's an idea of Colten, but what that idea of Colten is, I cater to you, whoever's watching this. When you see me, you're getting a whole new mask, just made specially for you, depending on what your interests are, your relationship to me. It feels genuine because my love for you is genuine. I'm an empathetic being with genuine love. But everything I'm doing all the time is a performance. That's what's tough for people to need to realize. I'm always doing a performance of some kind. And it just depends on what the day is and who the audience is. At work, I'm corporate guy. I'm business guy. I'm ambitious data nerd guy, right? You know, it just depends on the audience. And because that's how I saw my dad operate my entire life. There's no true rich. That's what a lot of people, the reason it's so baffling to people is because there's not a rich. There's the mask he made for you, but there's no rich. So when you hear me say things that sound impossible for the rich to have done, of course that mask wouldn't have done it. There's a lot of things that I've done that some people would be shocked by who know me, and that others would find unsurprising at all. It depends on the audience. And the reason I'm doing all this public stuff is because it forces me to engage everyone all at once and to be cognizant of every person in my audience. And the hope is that by doing this, we can come up with a close approximation of what Colten means. And I know this is all quite weird. It's not a normal brain. I'm not saying this is how I would recommend living your life. I would highly not recommend this. It is an incredibly difficult way to do things. I'm much more functional than I have been in a long time. I'm also in a great deal of pain and anguish and exhaustion and stress. Because of the damage that disassociation has done and being locked in a disassociative depressive episode for months. And there are things I could have done more responsibly, of course. Of course. There's always hindsight's always 2020. But I was broken before I had a shot, and I still built a pretty decent career for 7 years. And I'm asking for a little help just to get me off this mat, and I'll be back doing good again. So, what does that mean? Right? Put my glasses on so I can see. I'm going to take them back off again. The reason I take them off is because I don't like seeing myself on the camera because I'm trying to look at the camera and not down. So, for example, you're going to notice I over-explain things a lot like that. It's because I'm so terrified of being perceived as disingenuous, and I'm trying so hard to be genuine. But I have this sixth sense and understanding that something's wrong with me. It's like an uncanny valley thing that I know people pick up on subconsciously. That I like this guy, but he gives off an energy of some kind that's hard to really explain or understand. Like, what is the vibe? And that's exactly the issue is the vibe changes depending on who you are, what I am feeling at the time. Um, and so yeah, you see how I kind of just like disappeared for a second, took a big gulp because I'm sad about this. I was hoping to reach a point where we could fix this. That's what I've been working on in 8.5 years of therapy. I was hoping we could fix this and figure out who I am. But the soup got shaken too young. It's a neurological issue. The neural pathways were formed before they could grow the way they were supposed to. Okay? That's why this is a disability. I didn't pick to have this. I didn't pick to be this way. I'm stuck with it. So, what do we do with it? We make it into art. Mark 5:19 says, what Christ told Legion to do was to go out and tell the story of what God had done for him and the mercy God had on him. That's what the under church is. It's me telling the story of the miracle God did in my life and the mercy he's had on me to give me this beautiful community, wonderful, loving people, and a whole lot more hope than I have any right to have. I am at the bottom. I have hit the rock bottom. And when I look up, all I see is a way out. I don't the beauty of hitting rock bottom is you finally are done being afraid of the fall because it's already happened. And so you can just work forward. And I work best like that, unfortunately. I work best crawling from the bottom. Frustrating aspect of my psyche. I like being the underdog. Because when I'm at the bottom is when I see how much people love me and how much people care. And so the GoFundMe is because of a lot of things. I've had a dissociative episode. I had my divorce, my parents' divorce. Um, a lot. A lot. Getting some notices from Amor de mi vida. That's that sound. If you can't tell by the big grin on my face that just happened. The one thing is I'm still plenty capable of true emotion. The love I have for you is real. If you experience love from me, that's real. I don't want you to be freaked out. Um, the concern, the care, the emotions I have are very real. But I had to develop a lot of masks to survive. And so now I'm trying to be all of them at once for everybody because I want to be honest. I'm tired of lying. That's what this is about. I'm tired of lying. I'm ready to say I'm here because God wants me to be here. I have no right to still be alive. I don't think many people know how close I've gotten. I've gotten close. We're lucky I'm here. Okay? We're lucky that Finn is here, my son. And so all I'm trying to do with all these things is be the best version of myself for him. And I can't, and I want to make this mess while he's really young. 3. He doesn't know anything about this internet stuff. He's not going to see this for years. So let's get the rough drafts out before he's old enough to see it, right? That's why I'm doing this. Because I love all of you and I don't want to lie to you anymore. And part of that means you've got to see how messy it is. That I didn't come out of the cocoon a butterfly. I came out that wounded, screaming pterodactyl with 7 heads, just right. Nobody likes that. We all wish we could have gotten something much less chaotic. At least that's what I thought. And then as I did this, which is why we're doing it, I watched so many people be drawn to the authenticity, to be drawn to the brokenness and being so openly broken. And I realized that like a lot of us are in pain. And so I don't know, why not just let's hurt together instead of hurting alone? Why not? If it's gonna hurt, why do it alone? That's what she said. Yuck. I'm sorry. Um I am still cringy. That will never change. No matter how hard I try. Cringy will always be on the menu. I love you. Jesus loves you too. Te amo.